Hey everyone, Quietly Turning here. About 7 months ago, I shared a video titled Pittsburgh Dance Game Space, 1 year check-in, and in that, I gave an overview of the hardware that's here, I talked about my philosophical goals, and I gave sort of a loose future timeline of what was still to do. So in this video, about 7 months later, I'd like to show what we've been up to over the last 7 months. I'd like to touch again on my philosophical goals for the space and touch on what's still to come. If you stick around the whole time, I'll even share a little dance game secret that I've learned over the years with you. Sound good? Let's jump in. In mid-August of last year, my friend Vitter helped build 2 sound barriers and helped repair some broken screws I'd gotten stuck in my newly powder-coated DDR pads. Tip for viewers: if you're looking to get your arcade dance game pads sandblasted and powder-coated, learn about thread chasers ahead of time. They're like specialized screws that you can use to clean gunk, rust, or in my case, I could have used them to clean paint out of screw holes rather than getting screws stuck like I did. So, in August, I also moved a free couch a mile down the road back to the space by myself. Owning my own hand truck sure has been life-changing. In September, Vitter and I expanded the dance game room by removing a portion of drywall. Here's me excessively suited up to remove insulation. I also covered up a 1-inch resulting gap in the remaining drywall with a little expanding foam, some paint, and hey, that's good enough. In October, I installed some blinds. We gathered to sand down the sharp 90-degree edges on some custom panels. Another tip for viewers: if you're ordering your own acrylic or polycarbonate to make your own aero panels, have them deburr the edges for you so that you don't end up with sharp 90-degree edges that your feet will actually snag on. I installed LED lighting under the DDR pads. I learned enough sewing to hem some curtains that were too long. And we transported a Pump It Up DX cab to the space. That was a fun day. In November, Lilac and I installed LED strips inside the Pump DX's marquee. And we accidentally installed the marquee upside down. Oops. I also recreated pad decals and did lots of pad modding on the DDR K-cab pads. Finally, I gave up on Visa mounting the ITG cab's monitor and settled on stacking it on top of several spare panels and ensuring that it doesn't tip backwards with a simple tension rod. In December, I printed and mounted bezel artwork for the second ITG cab. We finally assembled both ITG pads. I applied DDR white cab decals to blank panels. Fitter returned and helped me build shelves. I no longer had a pile of stuff on the floor, instead I had several shelves of neatly organized stuff. And I wrote a lot of holiday cards. Thanks everyone. In January, I made a road trip to Virginia to pick up another set of DDR pads. I installed some in-ceiling lights above the board game table in the social room, and I designed, printed, and hung posters for the dance game room. In February, I learned to route panels following hurtpiggypig's tutorial. Joel helped install LEDs under the DDR Extreme pads. These LEDs are incredibly excessive. They're a visual bombardment just like old DDR, and I love them. We picked up a Supernova cab, moved it into the space, and refurbishing on that continues. In March, Vitter and Wilson helped install additional countertops in the kitchen area of the space. There's so much more available flat service for meal prep now, and I'm looking forward to cooking even more food for people during meetups. It's been a busy and productive 7 months, but we've also been enjoying the space and each other's company too. Around Halloween, we did a group Let's Play of PT. In January, we went sledding together. In February, we went ice skating. At nearly every meetup, there's chess or board games. And there's also been food. I'm regularly cooking pasta or salads or fresh salmon and so on, and sharing it with anyone at the meetup who wants some. And with the new countertops and some basic food prep supplies, I anticipate even more people being able to help out and share food. Ensuring that everyone who comes to a dance game meetup is well fed has been a joy, and it makes this dance game mom happy. So there's a lot more to the space than just dance games. I mean, there's certainly a part of it. There are 6 arcade machines, but remember how I said at the start that I'd let you in on a little secret? Well, here it is. Dance games were never about dance games. Stated differently, the real dance games were the friends we made along the way. No, like really, there's so much going on here, and it warms my heart. Not every person is into every activity, and that's okay. But every person brings something unique and worthwhile, and that is beautiful. Finally, with this last section of the video, I'll touch upon my future plans for the space. I do still have projects in mind that I'm working on, but I'm setting my own pace and not trying to build any sort of hype of what's coming, so be pleasantly surprised when new things arrive has always been my philosophy. In my video 7 months ago, I also noted that I wouldn't be renting the space past January of 2026. That's when my lease was up, and that I would have been doing it for 2.5 years. I would have, I think, built a good thing by that point, and that I didn't want to do it indefinitely. And so, at this point, January of 2026 is about 9 months away, and it's still the case. I'm still not planning me to continue to rent and continue to run the space. I do still feel like I will have done a good thing by building it and leading it for 2.5 years, and that also it will be time for me to step down. I think about this a lot, and you can always feel free to reach out if you want to know more about my rambly philosophical thoughts on the matter. That said, there are about 9 more months for us to enjoy the space as is. If in the upcoming future you think that the space is something that you really like and you feel that you're in a position to help lead it in the future, please reach out. Like, I would love to work with you to make that possible, to see the space continue past me. It doesn't mean that you have to have the money to make it happen. It doesn't mean that you have to be the sole person in charge of it. But I don't want to reach out to one person in particular and be like, will you do this? I don't want to put pressure on 1 or 2 people like that. That wouldn't feel right. I do want if someone in the community feels that they are in a position to step up and do it, I would want them to take the initiative to do that. But I'd love to work with you to ease that transition and to make it possible. So here's hoping. And I think that's all for now. Thanks for letting me ramble for 5 minutes, and I'll catch you around.